What is the deal with sleep associations? Are there really bad habits? And if there are bad habits, how do you avoid them? What's the deal with drowsy but awake or wide awake? This is what we are going to be talking about in today's video, all about sleep associations and drowsy but awake. Hi, my name is Hava. I help exhausted parents get better sleep without sleep training. I am a 2-time certified infant sleep educator, and I'm here to help you get better sleep and truly understand your little one's sleep through the holistic lens of connection, attachment, and neuroscience. Are you ready? Let's jump right in. So first off, let's start with what is normal. It is so incredibly normal for your little one to need some level of support to go to sleep and sometimes stay asleep. A baby's ability to fall asleep without any parental support, either from drowsy but awake or wide awake, is really just based on temperament and personal preference as opposed to a learned skill, as sleep trainers would have you believe. Certainly, we can train babies out of signaling for their caregiver to not ask for that level of support that they may desire, but it is really truly just not a learned skill. Most babies really seek a level of connection, closeness, and security in order to feel safe enough to go into sleep, needing that physical comfort and connection to allow their systems to relax. Now, why is this the case? Your baby attaches through the senses in their first year of life. So if your baby can't see, hear, feel, taste, or touch you, naturally that will give them a sense of alarm. Now, again, the level to which a child seeks this or feels that alarm is really heavily also still based on temperament and personality and preference. So if your little one does seem okay with a little bit more space, a little bit less alarmed as they go into sleep, it doesn't, again, mean there's anything wrong with them. And so the feeling of vulnerability that may be elicited when put down drowsy but awake or wide awake can prevent their system from falling asleep easily alone, which is why you'll see many babies really just protest this. Additionally, if your baby is fed from your body or you practice skin to skin, the hormone oxytocin is released. This is the love hormone. It feels good and it makes babies sleepy. So the act of cuddling, rocking, being held, or bouncing is incredibly soothing to your little. So again, this idea of drowsy but awake or wide awake or falling asleep independently will not work naturally for the majority of babies. And anyone who implies otherwise just sets people up to fail or is trying to sell you something. It is a common myth that how your little one falls asleep at the beginning of the night is how they will expect to fall asleep or be supported into sleep through every single sleep cycle, and it will create additional wakes. This idea that the key to good baby sleep is the ability or being taught the skill of falling asleep independently. And if you don't do so, you're setting yourself up for more frequent wakes and future sleep problems. However, there is absolutely no evidence to support this claim at all. There are babies who can fall asleep independently at the beginning of the night and then need to be rocked to sleep 5 times in the middle of the night. Or there is also babies who enjoy being rocked, soothed, and fed to sleep at the beginning of the night and sleep through the whole entire night. How many times your little one wakes really has very little, if anything, to do at all with how you are supporting them to sleep. How you are supporting your little one to sleep is only one very, very small piece of the good baby sleep puzzle. You can get your little one to sleep without ever putting them down, drowsy but awake or wide awake, and have them achieve good sleep. And you will never spoil them with too much love, responsive care, or by rocking, feeding, soothing them to sleep at all. And you will never spoil your baby by allowing them to fall asleep in the warmth, safety, and comfort of your loving presence. It is normal and really quite expected that babies and even many toddlers will need some level of support to fall asleep, whether that looks like holding their hands, rocking them, feeding them, sitting next to them, patting, whatever your little one enjoys, even throughout toddlerhood. I encourage you to lean into this time of connection and nurture for your child. And as your little one grows and develops and their personality changes and their preferences change, they will be naturally more ready for that level of independence as they get older. There will be a time when your little one naturally needs less support, and this varies from child to child, but again, it is in no way a skill that needs to be learned or taught, and the time in which this appears varies based on the child. Whether or not you leave it to be one 100% child-led or utilize some parent-led strategies along the way to gently encourage more independence. So are there such a thing as bad habits then? There is most certainly not. There is very, very, very little that you could do to truly hinder your little one's sleep, unless you are throwing a party at bedtime or hanging them upside down to sleep at night. So there are no bad sleep habits. There is only what works for you and your child. Neither is more right or more wrong, is good or bad or better than the other. And as you and your needs and your little one and their needs change, shift, and grow, you can make changes to something that perhaps used to work for you, but no longer works for you now. For example, if you were rocking your baby to sleep every night or bouncing them on the yoga ball and you're still doing so, but your baby is 30 pounds and your back and your arms can't take it anymore, and you're feeling stressed and resentful and frustrated about the situation, then it is time to make a gentle parent-led change. You can make changes at your baby's pace and at your own pace towards your goal, while the while being 100% responsive and in tune with your little one, keeping the things that you love and changing what no longer works for you, swapping them out with something that still meets your child's needs but is more comfortable or aligns better with your needs at the present. There is so much fear-mongering around sleep in regards to starting habits that work for you in the present but may not necessarily work for you in the long term. For example, don't feed your baby to sleep because you will always be doing that. Don't let them into your bed or you'll never be able to get them out of your bed. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with doing what works for you and what you enjoy in the present, with the understanding that if it does change, if your needs change, if what works for your family needs to change, you can absolutely do so along the way. That doesn't make your past decision wrong or bad or a mistake, but instead understanding that, as with all things in parenting, we have to make changes along the way. You're not locked into anything that no longer serves you. You can always make changes respectfully, responsively, all the while staying just as connected to your little one in an effort to find a solution and a strategy that meets your family's needs as a whole. Now that we have cleared all of that up, what do you do instead? So you know that there are no bad habits, there are only things that work for you, but how do you make those things work for you? One of the biggest things that I suggest to my clients is making sure that you utilize lots of sleep associations, not depending on just one way of soothing your little one. So when it comes to these sleep associations, it's up to you to figure out what works for your family, what works for your little one. What does your little one find calming that you also find comfortable and relaxing yourself? You can experiment with adding in different sleep associations that make sense for you, and this will support any future goals of removing one or another sleep associations as the time goes on. So for example, if you are currently feeding your baby to sleep, you can add additional sleep associations of patting their bum, of rocking, of having white noise playing or a specific lullaby, or perhaps a specific scent that they're familiar with. Build connection into routines as well, optimize their environment for sleep, and all of these things will support their sleep. At the end of the day, your little one does not need to learn how to fall asleep independently in order to have optimal sleep. Frame this time as a time of nurture and connection for your little one. Remember that every single act of responsive nurturing towards your child builds their brain. It supports their mental wellness and their connection with you for life. How this looks for every single family will be different and unique because there is no family situation that is identical. Every baby's personality and preferences are different, and what works for you will be different. These sleep associations also don't need to be the exact same between caregivers. If, for example, you feed your little one to sleep or your partner feeds their little one to sleep, you or a partner can do something different and develop your own routines and associations with your little one. Through this holistic neuroscience and attachment-based approach, the focus is on relationship and understanding your unique child, all the while optimizing their sleep responsibly, respectfully, and with connection in mind.